Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to all of you. Let's share the show, please. We are going to be in a quick conversation here. Call it emergency show, however you want to term it as. With Imam Krayee from Liberia, Imam Ali Krayee from Liberia. Let's share the show, guys. Sekou will be joining us here momentarily. Give me a second. Okay, sorry for that. Sorry for the interruptions, guys. Let's share the show. Quick conversation here. Sekou will be joining us. Imam Krayee will be joining us from Liberia as well. Here, happy Easter, Good Friday to many of us who are Christians. Interesting things are happening around the world. We will, maybe after we speak with uh, the Imam Ali Krayee, we will probably have the opportunity to talk about one or two things going on around the world. Today's Sekou's birthday. Happy birthday to Sekou. We will have the opportunity to wish him happy birthday and see. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. Let's share the show, guys. This is an emergency show. We want to do this really quick. Tomorrow we'll still resume the programming. And the day after we'll resume the program. A lot of political talks, a lot of things going on. Sekou's here with us. Sekou will be joining us any moment from now. He's getting ready to join us. But let's share the show, please. Let's share the show. Invite someone. Yeah, it's not a surprise if you see SKTV alert on your phone. Normally, we don't do shows on Friday. But we are here today in a quick conversation with the Imam, who will be joining us any moment from now from Liberia. But let's share the show because we have a lot to talk about. Happy Good Friday to you, or Good Friday to you. Happy Easter. Um, hmm. Happy Easter. Let's share the show. A lot of interesting things are happening. We want to get into that. Imam Krayee is not just an imam; he's the chief imam. In other words, the way we can say in Christianity, the apostle, the big man for all the imam, or the big man for all the men of God. The chief imam in Liberia. So we've interacted with him here before. Um, we had a very good conversation that I'm aware of, and we're expecting him to be here today. He's the chief imam. Let's share the show, guys. Don't be surprised. I know this is not a regular time we come on. We came on today earlier than our regular time, and is a surprise show as well. We planned it, but we weren't 100% certain on the timing, so we wanted to confirm it. Once we confirm it, and that's why we are on today. But let's share the show, please. Chief Imam Ali Krayee will be here with us. Uh, let's share the show. Like I said, there are a lot of things to talk about, a lot of discussions. There are a lot of things to talk about. Sekou, good morning to you. Happy birthday. What's going on, birthday man? What's up? You look.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
looking like you in birthday fever.
Oh, hmm. Somebody just come and ask me what are you doing for the birthday? I said, just wait until breakfast tonight. Yeah, but my man, it has been a pool of calls. Man, somebody called me today because of my birthday. They just come to pray for me.
Oh,
She's a female. Yeah, she said, even though you are a Muslim, but this is very, very, very important. Pray for me. I don't want to call her name, but she prayed for me. And I really, really appreciate it. People have been calling me, people have been texting me, people. Some friend that I never heard from for a very long time were in my inbox telling me, happy birthday. And the funny thing, Steve, I said I was gonna post something after midnight. But after midnight, I forgot because I was busy doing something else. Somebody now came to my inbox, one of the friends that came to my inbox and said, happy birthday, Sekou. I said, oh, that was around I think 3 or 4 o'clock, our time here. So I decided to go back and put something there. But yes, I want to say thank you to everybody for wishing me happy birthday. I really, really, really appreciate it. We are getting old now. Every year that is added to our age, we must be appreciative of God, for that. So Chief Imam Ali Krayee is going to be here. We're going to be discussing a few things. First, the importance of Ramadan, and we also learned that the Liberian Muslim community just had an election for the Grand Mufti, and we learned that the Grand Mufti, my own brother, who is the Grand Mufti, somebody told us that he did not win the election. We don't know, but there was some controversy. Certain people were saying that, I heard certain people calling on him to accept the result and just move on. So we want to also encourage the Imam to share light on that so we can have a clear picture as to what really happened. Yeah, so this is important. This is now a normal show. He's going to be on for about an hour or so. Perhaps after he leaves, um, maybe Steve and I will dive into little politics. Since tomorrow is the normal day for politics, but we have a lot going on right now. And Steve, I will, after the Imam, I will we'll talk about something. At the moment of fact, after the show today, I want you to come to the house. You got something very, very important to discuss with you. The the stuff we had the last time, the polling we had the last time as to who is uh, or who should be commission's vice presidential pick. That thing it went a long way. A lot of people are even eager to come in to give their opinion as to who they want to be communist running mate. They will interest you. People may think that okay, they are not watching, they're not looking, they don't care. But trust me, both people that were both names that were I mean names that were announced here by us and the people who were also doing the vetting and stuff like that. I think a lot of them were watching. I didn't know that some of the people that we were that their name were thrown out there were also watching. Surprisingly, they were watching. And surprisingly, some key players within the CPP2 were watching. They didn't know that we were going to talk about it, but they were watching. So we'll talk about that one later on after our interview with the Imam. I think the Imam is here. Let's see here. So today, we're not going to play music to welcome the Imam. We want to encourage all of you just to go and share the show right now because you're going to be with us probably for only 1 hour. If we go over 1 hour, maybe it'll be 1 or 2 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, but it's not going to be more than an hour of conversation. So let's check here and see if the Imam is ready to go. Imam Ali Krayee, Salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa
Alaikum salam,
rahmatullah.
Mr.
All right. Thank God we have you. And want to start by telling you welcome to SKTV once again, despite the short notice. I just reached out to you and not too long ago, day before yesterday or yesterday, and you said I will come, just to have a conversation on SKTV. to the Liberian people, both in the diaspora and in Liberia. So we can't thank you enough for being there. This is something that we wanted to do before the beginning of the Ramadan. But now that we are in it, I want to say Ramadan Kareem.
Thank
I
you.
greet you to say Assalamu alaikum is because I myself am a Muslim. So
Wa alaikum.
yeah. So my colleague here, Steve, he's Christian. So we will ask you questions about anything for you to help us enlighten our minds and then the minds of people who are also following us. This platform is non-religion platform. So we can invite Imam, we can invite pastors, we can invite anybody, you know, but we invite politicians, we invite business people, and whoever accept our invite, they will come here and we'll have a conversation. And this is not your first time. So I want to give you the opportunity to greet, you know, our people, and then we will begin the conversation.
Well, okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, which means peace be unto you, together with the mercy and the blessings of Allah, to all the Muslim brothers and sisters who are observing this holy month of Ramadan, and to our non-Muslim brothers and sisters. We are all brothers and sisters in humanity, by the way. We also greet you with the greetings of peace in Islam and say peace be unto you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, Imam, so in Liberia, when did you people start the Ramadan, and when going to be the Eid from your your calendar there in Liberia?
Well, I can say we started on Thursday. I guess Thursday was the 23rd of March. That was when we started the fast, and hopefully we will be ending around the 21st, 22nd. So it depends on the sighting of the moon. So basically, this is the information about the commencement of Ramadan. We'll be ending in about 2 weeks from now, inshallah. But like I said, it depends on the sighting of the moon.
All right, I would like Steve to say hi to you. Then we will begin the actual conversation and questioning. Like I was saying, I'm a Muslim. Steve is a Christian, but we always eat together. We always do things together. And if something happen, like I'll be invited so many times for program for stuff for the church, I'll go there. And we're having program to whether it's the mosque, whether it's any Islamic community, he always goes there. And he's, as a matter of fact, he's the president for the Liberian community here in Phoenix, Arizona. So we have the big diverse community here. So, and this platform is like the example of Liberia. We don't really care about tribe. We don't care about religion. All we care about is Liberia, and whatever make Liberia better, that's what we always engage in. So, Steve, you have the time to say hi to the Imam, and maybe you can start the questioning.
Yes, Imam, good to see you again. It's good to have you on. How are you?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm okay.
Good. Well, I'd like to kickstart the conversation by maybe providing some brief clarity to us who might not be familiar, because some Christians have gotten confused. I got somebody who called me and says, why do they say Happy Ramadan when they're ready to start a fast? Then they say Happy Ramadan again when they break the fast. What is Ramadan?
Ramadan is the 9th month on the Islamic calendar. It is the month in which the Quran was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So according to the Quran in chapter 2, because of this, whenever the month arrives, Muslims should observe it by fasting. We fast to commemorate the revelation of the Quran, the anniversary of the revelation of the Quran. And as the Quran itself says, so that we will learn to fear God. We'll get closer to God, we'll be more conscious of God. So that is the objective of the fasting. Now in Ramadan, when Ramadan begins, people usually, I think the words are not happy Ramadan as such. Probably that is some people's way of saying it. The words are Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem, etc., which is like saying, um, wish you a blessed Ramadan, or we wish you a generous Ramadan. And that is because the month of fasting is a month of mercy, the month of forgiveness, and a month in which Muslims hope to be freed from the fire of hell, that is to be admitted into paradise and into the pleasure of God. So people will wish the fasting Muslims success in Ramadan, and that is why they say, wish you a blessed Ramadan. When they say Ramadan Mubarak, I will wish you a generous or honorable Ramadan, because it is the month of honor, the month of dignity, and the month of generosity. Then at the end, people say the same. They don't say Happy Ramadan at the end or Ramadan Mubarak at the end of Ramadan. They say Eid Mubarak. That is, we wish you a blessed festivity, a blessed festival. Because at the end of Ramadan, the Muslim feast, we celebrate. So it is wishing us a blessed celebration. And because of that, they say Eid Mubarak.
Very interesting. Thank you for the clarity and the context here. Some of us who are not Christians, who are not Muslims, I mean, how do we support, at the same time, respect, honor, and set boundaries for our Muslims brothers and sisters who are fasting? How can we contribute to this process?
The best thing you can do is to realize that when Muslims are fasting, there are certain rules they should observe. For example, Muslims are not supposed to eat or drink in the daylight hours during the month of Ramadan. So, as a non-Muslim neighbor, a non-Muslim co-worker, wherever you may be, your duty first and foremost is to respect that. So that, for example, when you are having a meal, probably in order not to um, tempt the Muslim with fasting, is maybe to give some distance out of courtesy. It is not compulsory. If the Muslim is exposed to food and is tempted by that, maybe that increases the reward for fasting. But on your part as a non-Muslim, I think you would not want to put a Muslim in a position where he will be tempted because of the food that is close to him. So you may like to excuse him when you're having your meal. That is where it is possible. Like I said, there is no obligation on the part of the non-Muslim to do that. Besides that, even among ourselves, among Muslims themselves, when people are fasting and somebody tries to provoke them to anger or try to do anything that would tempt them to respond in ways that may not be peaceful, the Muslim is urged or is asked by the Prophet, peace be upon him, to say, I'm fasting. By saying I'm fasting, the person will understand that the person has some limits, is under some regulations, and so may not be able to respond to your provocation. So that is a kind of hint to the person who is not a Muslim. So as a non-Muslim, you can help your Muslim neighbor, your Muslim friend, or your Muslim colleague uh, by also trying to exercise restraint in many instances where maybe you are annoyed, you may want to respond to something that is provocative. You may forgive or pardon the Muslim person because you know that in that condition he is not supposed to get involved in any kind of quarrel. And when you understand that he is fasting also, it is your responsibility to ensure that you don't tempt him or provoke him to anger. And so it's just about understanding that this person is in a special state of communion with God. And so you respect that condition, respect that situation, that time, and then you help him. These are ways that non-Muslims can actually help their Muslim brothers and sisters.
Good. These are ways that non-Muslim can help their Muslim brothers and sisters in the time of Ramadan. But let me ask you this question. The flip side of this is some Christians would argue and say, well, how does the prayer when the final day, like you said earlier on, I would quote to say maybe you said the 21st or the 22nd of April, depending on I forgot the statement you used, but depending on the moon or whatever not,
The
how does
the, sight,
depend what?
the sighting of the moon
The sighting of
depends
the
on the
moon.
sighting of the moon.
Right. So some Christians would say about how do we benefit from this entire Ramadan? How do we benefit from the prayer, the big prayer that is held, on the last day or after the last day of fasting? How does the word benefit from the Ramadan?
Look, Muslims, I mean, generally, the whole world, like the Quran says, the Prophet was sent as a message to the whole world. That's what the Quran says. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَى رَحْمَةٍ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We did not send you, O Muhammad, except as a message to the world. That is what the Quran says in chapter 21. So the Muslim in Ramadan is supposed to exhibit that spirit of mercy, that spirit of forgiveness, you know, because the Muslim himself is seeking forgiveness from God. Like the Quran says that people should pardon and forgive, that let them pardon and overlook the faults of others. And Allah asks, that is in Quran chapter 24, He said, Allah tuhibbuna an yakfirallahu lakum. Or don't you love that Allah should forgive you? So Muslims are encouraged to pardon, to overlook, to forgive when they are fasting and when they are not fasting. But especially in the month of Ramadan, we are urged to do more of these things. So this spirit of forgiveness, you understand that in Ramadan, even the most recalcitrant, the most difficult Muslims to deal with are a little merciful. They are a little kind, a little more kind than they usually are. So the world benefits. And I was saying to somebody some time ago that look, if the whole world were just to observe the kind of impact the fast of Ramadan has on the maintenance of peace, of social order, I think people would encourage everyone to be fasting with the Muslims because Muslims constitute some 1.6, some say 1.8 billion people in this world. And about two-thirds of these people, or maybe 75% of these people, observe fasting because they are underage people who are not supposed to fast. There are certain categories of people who cannot fast. So just imagine about a billion. Let's just even say a billion people fasting. And these people, some of them, we used to be very stubborn, we used to be very aggressive people. They are now kind people. Imagine in the month of the miracles of the Prophet, peace be upon him, because he's the only human being in history through whom humanity has been able to observe this kind of thing. The only person who has been obeyed, that is God. God is the one who gave the order, but it's through the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that when Ramadan comes, hundreds of millions of people, now more than a billion people, abstain from food, drinks, and all kinds of worldly activities for a whole month. So you can imagine the impact. Even the Zouk, I mean the recalcitrant, Muslims, those who are stubborn, usually, I mean, we may just say are criminals. When Ramadan comes, they tend to repent. They try to be good people. They try to be kind people. So the world is spared a lot of the animosity and the aggression that it witnesses during the month of Ramadan. And I think that is a huge contribution. Even if just 10% of the population is than usual, will try to avoid provocations, I think it is a huge contribution to world peace and stability.
Thank you. Thank you, Imam. Just before Sekou comes in with his question, I wanted to, you spoke about the time of Ramadan, fasting, peace, and all of those things. most recently, and I know you are following because I follow you, just for the record. Um, we've done some serious, extensive research on you, and we've gotten some very good feedback about who you are, about what you stand for, what you know, and what you intend to do across your religion, but for humanity and for Liberians.
Oh, yeah, we just lost him.
Uh,
I think we'll get him back. We'll get him back.
yes, and like I was saying, that Mr. Kane, all joke aside, he's very well respected. A half a Liberian man who is not of a certain religion to respect certain people from a certain religion. Not only that, he has appealed to Liberians across the aisle. Forget about religion, forget about tribe. He's seen as a man of integrity, a highly respected man with dignity. So I wanted to ask him a question, but when he gets back, but I think Mr. Kane overall, before the Imam comes back, you were laying the basis for some things. There are some developments on some things that we talked about, like he said. it will interest the Liberian people to know what's going on. There are some very fascinating and interesting things going on. We will cover partly today because we don't want to spay all the beef. And let me say something, Mr. Kane. When the Imam move from here, we getting back into our normal routine. That thing what I see you're doing. Oh, say we have a birthday. We don't own that thing. You need to drop, let's try to be happening. Yeah. So the birthday and say we having here more.
Oh, so they're not drop up there.
But be checking the cash app that real quick, man. People who bring
No. I don't know. Let me see. I don't see it. Let me see going on right now.
What in your own? We don't own that thing with you today.
Not yet. Hey, I mean, my man, they call a loan and the text message alone.
Forget that thing, man. Did that thing. They call a loan and text message. What is on it? Forget that thing. Did that thing. What thing?
Yeah, so what I was saying, let it. Hopefully, the Imam will come back right away.
Right.
Steve, sometimes we can overlook certain things, or sometimes you may not overlook, but you may sometimes underestimate the strength and the power of certain things we do. And I can tell you, the show that we did the last time, when that gave birth to all the commotion within the Unity Party about people being shortlisted, it was very important. It brought in a lot of stuff. Even those who were against it, they appreciated it because there were things that they didn't know. They were arguing with other people they didn't know. And after when we broke the news, Benin was compelled to come out to get himself out from the stuff. So if the Imam is back, we're going to continue with the Ramadan conversation and Islamic conversation.
Yes.
If the Imam leaves, because Imam was supposed to be going back, we're going to have to show here for 1 hour. Maybe if you go over 1 hour, it's going to be 1 or 2 minutes or 10 minutes maximum. But Imam, welcome back. Steve, go ahead with your question. Then I will ask my question.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, just before you left.
Oh, Steve.
Yes.
Just so what you said, the Ramadan, they're now just funny Ramadan. I mean that my birthday, they're not just any kind of dry birthday. Our friend, I don't know, you want me to call your name, Ben. Ben just sent $100. He said that my birthday present.
Yeah, the Imam. We'll hang our people when the Imam leave. Let get enough from the Imam before, please.
Ben, we appreciate it, man, so much. Wow, that's
I
great.
beg you.
So go ahead, ask the question. Then I will ask my question. Okay.
So, Imam Krayee, like I was saying earlier, just before you left, many Liberians, those who are Christians or not, highly regard you, and term you as a man of integrity that understand the issue. But you said earlier on that during this month, in the Muslim religion, it is encouraged, I'm paraphrasing you, and the word should know that it's one of the peaceful months. Muslims exhibit peace, and people are more tolerant and accepting, especially those who are intolerant during this time. What do you make of the war going on currently in the fast month in the Middle East? The Palestinian, the Gaza, the Israelites, back and forth during this time. What do you say?
Hmm.
There's something about Islam. Islam is the natural religion, and as the natural religion, human beings respond naturally to issues as they arise. So even during the days of the Prophet, peace be upon him, when the Muslims were provoked in Ramadan, that is when war was declared on the Muslims were allowed to defend themselves. So it is permissible in Islam that when you are attacked, even though you are fasting, when you are attacked, you have the right to defend yourself. For example, you'll not be walking on the road and people come to attack you physically without the presence of police, and you say, "Well, I'm fasting, so I will sit idly by and allow them to brutalize me." So you have the right to respond. And I think the unfortunate thing, however, is that sometimes everybody thinks they are right, and this is where the problem lies. But if the person is offended, the person has a right to self-defense.
If the person is offended, the person has the right to self-defense. Here is the part B of this question. I will turn it over to Sekou. You've been around. You understand different religions from our research. Apart from being a Muslim, you understand different religion. Apart from being an Imam, you understand other religions. What do you make of the Ramadan being, I don't want to say coincidental, but blessingly, having the Ramadan, having the Easter, the Passover around the same time? What do you say as a religious man, as a religious leader, or teacher, or scholar? What do you say? What is nature? What is God telling us as humanity? What is it?
It is obvious that Muslims, Christians, and Jews have different understanding in certain instances of the way God desires to be worshipped. But Muslims, Christians, and Jews have one root. That is why in the study of comparative religion, these three religions are called the Abrahamic religions because we all have our roots in the tradition of Abraham. For example, the Jews respect, they are Banu Israel, that are the children of Israel, the grandson of Abraham, who is Jacob. They are actually descendants of Jacob. And the Muslims, that is the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is a descendant of Ishmael, Abraham's first son. And generally, the Christians believe that the advent of Jesus Christ is as a result of the promise made to Abraham by God. So we all have this common root, this common background. Even though we have differences in terms of doctrines, in terms of the way we perceive God's way of dealing with humanity, but we have the same background, so to speak. And so for us, it is very important for there to be this kind of cooperation or certain kind of cooperation among Muslims, Christians, and Jews. In fact, the Quran refers to Christians and Jews as Ahlul Kitab, people of the book. It means these are people to whom God sent revelations earlier before the coming of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And that is why the Quran allows Muslims to eat the food of the Jews and the Christians and to marry their women. But Muslims are not allowed to marry women who are pagans, those who don't believe in God, for example. Only Jewish and Christian women we can marry. So we have a lot in common. Maybe on another occasion we can discuss some of the commonalities between Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, because my third book dealt with some of these issues extensively when I talked about the second coming of Jesus Christ. So um, unfortunately, people most of the time dwell on the differences. But I think it's a good thing when these things are happening together for us to understand that we generally believe in the creator of the heavens and the earth, that we think that this one alone should be worshipped. And there's need for us to work together to bring about better understanding and greater cooperation on issues of common concern.
Thank you. Seku's up to you, please.
Thank you so much, Imam. I'm so nervous that we do not have enough time to cover a lot of stuff, but honestly, I'm enjoying the conversation. I want to say thank you again for availing yourself for being here to have this very, very important conversation. So speaking of
Welcome.
speaking of Ramadan, the Quran encourage all Muslim to fast. As a matter of fact, as a student of Islam, for me, I'm a student. Islam, Quran directly mention Ramadan by saying that Ramadan is, ordained. Everybody, you are obliged to fast. Say kutiba alaykum siyaman kama kutiba ala lazina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun, right? So those people say fast is something that you have to do. So kindly tell us who's supposed to fast as Muslim. What are the criteria set for Muslim that's supposed to fast? Who's supposed to fast? Because when Quran say, fasting is obligation to all Muslim. Give us some distinction as to who's supposed to fast and what are the criteria of fasting, and those who don't fast.
Well, yes. As for the basis, the criteria for fasting, uh, it is any mature Muslim, any Muslim who has reached maturity, who is sound mind, uh, a person who is not very sick, that is sick to the extent that they cannot observe the fast, and the person who is not on a journey, because travelers are exempt from fasting until they return to the place where they live.
Resign.
So these are some of the people who should not fast. But besides that, anybody who is of sound mind, who is healthy, who is resident in the place, is supposed to observe the fast of Ramadan. Uh, when the person is fasting, it is not just abstention from food and drinks. The person is also to abstain from anything that is haram, that is anything that is forbidden in Islam. Even though Muslims are not allowed to do forbidden things outside of Ramadan, but when Ramadan comes, it is very important that people observe the rules of Islam more, because these are some of the things that make the fast to be accepted by God. Because the fast of Ramadan, in particular, and fasting in general, is intended to get us closer to God, to get us closer to Allah. So if you are fasting, your job is to ensure that anything that would annoy the Creator is avoided, and anything that will make Him happy is done. So that is why we increase good deeds, good activities, and you find Muslims to be more generous in Ramadan than at any other time of the year. And like I said, when the person is even provoked, the person tries to avoid uh, responding to that provocation by just telling the person that they are fasting. So yes, these are some of the conditions, but you cannot be fasting, stay away from food and drink, but at the same time get involved in all kinds of illicit activities. These things undermine the value of the fast. So it's very important for people to understand that. I think besides food and drink, Muslims are not supposed to engage in sexual activity during the daylight hours. In other words, even though you married your wife or your husband, once you are fasting, you are not supposed to have sexual relationship with them, because these are things of human nature. These are things that we usually do to please ourselves. But this time we are seeking closeness to God. And so we try to restrain ourselves from things that give natural pleasure, food, drink, sexual pleasure, etc. So these are some of the things that Muslims are supposed to observe when they are fasting. These are some of the conditions or the criteria, if you like, of fasting in Ramadan.
Thank you so much. It looks like you even picked my brain because that was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you about the proximity as to how close, besides sexual engagement, but how close can one be with your wife during the daylight of Ramadan without affecting your fast? Besides sexual,
Well,
yeah.
there are some technical issues. There are some technical issues. Some say even kissing doesn't invalidate the fast or doesn't nullify the fast. But I think there are strict conditions there that people should understand. Anything that resolves into sexual pleasure to a level where you will feel that you are really satisfied yourself sexually is completely forbidden. So it just depends. If your closeness to your wife is just symbolic, maybe to just show affection, there's no with that. But if you involve yourself in things that will give you that kind of pleasure that you normally derive from sexual activity, then it is forbidden.
Okay. So I'll stay on the fast. So we are all told that fasting from early morning hours to the end of the sun. So people who are fasting, should we go by the time set by our daylight time now, or should we go by, because for example, some area here in America, let's say when it's 7 o'clock in the East Coast, they already it's already getting dark. It will be like 4 p.m. here in Phoenix. So people, they start fast earlier and end earlier. We start late and end late. So what time actually people supposed to stop eating in the morning hour?
It is approximately about 15 minutes to the prayer time, to the morning prayer time. People should stop eating. And then when the sun sets, you break the fast. I mean, that is a general rule. There are places in the world where daytime is very short, like in the some part of the northern hemisphere. Uh, there are certain rules that experts or religious experts have for those people who are fasting in those parts of the world. But generally, uh, fasting is from dawn to sunset. That is some 20, 15 minutes before the prayer time. You stop eating, and then you can start eating or breaking the fast when the sun has set completely. The rule that people usually use to determine how long people should stay fasting, because there are different climatic conditions in different parts of the world, uh, is the duration of the day in the Arabian Peninsula, because fasting was prescribed to Muslims in the days of the Prophet in Arabia. So what they observed, the period, the time frame for fasting in the days of the Prophet ﷺ is generally assumed by scholars to be the ideal time frame for fasting. Even though the Quran says you should stop eating at dawn and end the fast when the sun sets or when the night falls. But because language and religious injunctions are sometimes relative, many scholars assume that the ideal or the most natural time frame is that which is in the Arabian Peninsula, because it was within that geographic setting that the Quranic revelation happened.
Okay. Thank you so much, Imam Ali Krayee. So those of you who just joining us, this is the Chief Imam, Imam Ali Krayee of the Republic of Liberia. He accepted our invitation to come here and lecture us at least a little bit about Islam and precisely on the Ramadan, the importance of Ramadan. So for us, the Muslim, you said something very, very important that it will help me and a lot of other people as to when you start. A lot of people, they say until you can pray the Fajr prayer. Some people will eat all the way until it's time to break the fast 1 minute, then they will drink plenty before they go down and go pray. But you just said 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes before the prayer time. So I think that is clear. People should listen to that. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you is that after the Ramadan, many people are encouraged to fast another 6 days after the Ramadan. What is that for, and what is the importance of that extra 6-day fasting?
Well, there are many hadith, there are many sayings of the Prophet regarding that. The 6 days of Shawwal. Shawwal is the month that comes right after the month of Ramadan, and Muslims are urged to continue fasting. That is besides the day of Eid. When the Ramadan ends, of course, the day of Eid is a day of festivity. People go and enjoy themselves. But right after that, people are encouraged to fast additional 6 days in the month of Shawwal. They don't have to be consecutive days. They should just be observed within the month of Shawwal. That is the month following Ramadan. The significance of that is that usually people tend to be worshippers of the month of Ramadan. When Ramadan ends, they forget about God. When Ramadan ends, they get involved in all the forbidden acts again. So in order not to just plunge ourselves into worldly activities, into disobedience of God because Ramadan has ended, the 6 days serve as a kind of way of making us to practice what we have been practicing outside of Ramadan, as if to say, look, Ramadan has ended, but the worship of God continues. That is why the Prophet encouraged people to fast. And in fact, there is this saying of the Prophet that whoever fasts during the month of Ramadan and continue for another 6 days in Shawwal is like the person that fasted for a whole year. That is to actually encourage people not to abandon good deeds, not to abandon worshiping God because Ramadan has ended.
All right, one last question on Ramadan, then we're going to speak because I'm looking at my time here. It's about 5:51 in Liberia, almost going to 6 o'clock, and then I don't know, you want to leave exact 6 o'clock or 10 minutes after 6 or 15 minutes after 6. Just let us know so we can make sure we stay within the comfort.
Well, we can make it we can make it up to 10 minutes after 6, no problem.
Okay, thank you. So on the on the day of the Eid, or maybe during the month of Ramadan, that's exactly what I want. During the month of Ramadan, what are acceptable food that you're supposed to eat? Some people say, if you are young, somebody who you don't marry, when they bring food, you don't eat it. Because they say that girlfriend food, don't eat it. Some people say, no. In fact, don't eat from anybody who are non-Muslim. Some people say, no. I just want, what are acceptable food that you are allowed to eat during the month of Ramadan?
The same food you are allowed to eat outside of Ramadan is the same food you are allowed to eat in Ramadan. What is forbidden in Ramadan is forbidden outside of Ramadan. What is allowed in Ramadan is allowed outside of Ramadan. I don't know why people make issue of that. You are not supposed to fornicate at any time, whether in Ramadan or not. You're not supposed to have a girlfriend, as we call it in Liberia, whether in Ramadan or not. You are not supposed to allow a girl you have not married to be the one preparing food for you, whether in Ramadan or not. So I don't think these are issues that should even arise. I think mainly because of ignorance, people try to raise these things whenever Ramadan comes. Whatever is forbidden in Ramadan to eat is forbidden outside of Ramadan to eat. I think that has to be very clear. So it's up to us to know what is right and what is wrong.
Back to you, Steve. And before you go, Steve. Anyway, after the
Yeah,
Imam
so I think that's my answer.
leave, we're still going to be here. Yeah. So go ahead, Steve.
Yes. Imam, really quick. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. Can you
Yeah,
guys hear me?
we can hear you. Yeah, you are very loud and
Okay,
clear.
good. So,
I'm hearing.
so since I was born, there's something I've really not noticed from the Islamic religion, such as in church or in Christianity, we can pull the big flyer up, for contribution for all to build the church. I don't see that in the Islamic religion. What is the secret? Why don't the Islamic religion put flyer up and say we doing a crusade to build the mosque? What is the secret? How do you guys generate funds to contribute towards the mosque or the work of God? How? What is the secret there?
We also do similar thing. I don't think that maybe it's the manner in which it is done. What happens is that whenever Muslims have a project, they make the announcement in the mosque, asking those who can afford to make the contribution. And usually, those who have the means are the ones who volunteer to contribute. That is why sometimes you see a mosque will be built by just one person because he has the means. In Islam, like the Quran says, God does not burden any soul beyond its capacity. So the poor, those who are less fortunate financially and other ways, are not really pressed to make contribution. In fact, they are the ones who should receive aid, who should receive help. So the zakat, that is the third pillar of Islam, which is maybe somewhat similar to the tithe that people pay in churches, that annual charity that is given is actually from the well-to-do to the less fortunate. It is not the other way around. Maybe in some areas we observe, like people observing the opposite of Jesus and miracles because Jesus used to feed the multitude. But nowadays we see men of God being fed by the multitude. So probably this is what you're referring to. But in Islam, uh, contribution should come from the wealthy to benefit the poor. So in the mosque, whenever we have projects, the wealthy people do more contribution, they make more contribution and don't expect much or anything at all from those who are poor. I think probably that is the secret. Since
Probably.
it is known that those who, for example, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, if you build mosque, you will have a house for yourself in paradise. So wealthy Muslims, who are also accustomed to enjoying their lives in this world, want to have homes in paradise. So they are anxious to make contribution towards the building of mosques. Probably that is why you don't see the kind of things you see in other places.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this question. Since you talk about and that was going to be my next question, but you got into it in the third pillar of Islam. One of the pillars also is, please correct me if I mispronounce it, the swan, which is considered for some or for most as the Ramadan, and I stand to be corrected. Here's my question to you. If a Muslim does not adhere to these five pillars, what are the consequences? And what are these five pillars?
These five pillars are intended to help us worship God, to get closer to God. They are pillars because it is around them that the religion is built. So, for example, the first is the Kalimatu Shahada, which is the statement of testimony, bearing witness that there is no God besides the one and only true God that we call Allah. When you bear witness that there is only one God, it means you are under obligation not to worship anything else. Then you bear witness that Muhammad is messenger of God. It means you believe in the revelation of the Quran, and you believe in the utterances and the statements of the Prophet Muhammad himself, explaining the Quran practically and in his practical example. It means you believe in that. Then when you perform the 5 daily prayers, you see, human beings are always under attack from satanic forces. We are always tempted by Satan to disobey God, to do things against our own interests, especially when it comes to our relationship with God. So because we are under constant attack from Satan, unceasing attack from Satan up to the end of our lives, we are under obligation to reconnect with God regularly. So the 5 daily prayers are in effect a way of connecting and reconnecting ourselves with God regularly. Because the moment you leave the mosque, like for example, in the morning you pray, when you come out, you come under satanic attacks. Different satanic influences will be driving you towards doing things that are against the will of God. So when the afternoon prayer is called, you remember that you have a relationship with God and you go back to worship Him. That is a kind of reminder. That is why the Quran says, "Aqimi salata li dhikri." Observe the prayer in my remembrance, the remembrance of God. When God comes to your mind, then you minimize the doing of evil and you maximize the doing of good. That is why we pray 5 times a day, so that we remember our relationship with God 5 times a day. And I mean 5 times. They are not just 5 prayers a day. 5 times. You must pray in the afternoon. You can't wait until in the evening you combine everything. It is not acceptable. So that is the prayer. And the Quran says prayer actually helps people to refrain from indecency and abomination. Because you can be a person connecting and reconnecting with God throughout the day, and then you are involved in all kinds of foolish and wicked acts. So the prayer is essentially to help guard us against the things that are against the will of God. Then you come to the zakah, which is charity, is loosely interpreted as charity. It is actually to purify us of greed, to, puri- to purify us of egotistic desires and ambitions. So the Quran says that the Prophet should take sadaqah or charity from the people to purify and cleanse them. And because of that, they earn the prayer of the Prophet, peace be upon him. The Quran also says that this charity, we call zakah, should be given so that wealth will not be circulating among the wealthy people alone. You know what it means. When people just amass wealth over and over and forget that there are other people in the world who are less fortunate, people who cannot even afford food to eat, people who are in, for example, drought situations around the world, people forget about them. People forget about the cause of God. And maybe to come to the first question you asked, how do we manage to raise funds? Zakah is an obligation. This annual charity is an obligation. People use some of that to fund some of the activities of God, some of the activities of Islam. I mean, zakah or the charity in Islam is a practical manifestation of the brotherhood of the believers. Because we can all say in our mouths we are brothers and sisters in religion, brothers and sisters in humanity, and yet when somebody is suffering, we ignore their plight. That is not just unkind; it demonstrates our our lack of faith in God Himself. Because the good that we benefit from regularly don't come from the sky. They don't just fall from the sky. Every good thing we get in this world, we get through our fellow human beings. Most of the time, I should say, come through our fellow human beings. So if you want good from God and you expect it to come through your fellow human beings, you should also understand that the good that will go to your fellow human beings should pass through you. So you are in the position to give, must be willing to sacrifice some of what you have for the benefit of the society, the benefit of the less fortunate in the society. That is the zakah, bringing us to fasting, which is siyam. Yes, you are right. Sometimes it's called psalm. That is fasting, and their pronunciation is not bad after all. So when you come to fasting, now when we worship God and we pray 5 times a day and we uh, give the zakat, there is something that is left. Because for the wealthy, sometimes, especially those wealthy people who are not so selfish, these are all common things. But there's one thing else we have to give: our own pleasure for the sake of God. This is one of the greatest sacrifices we can make. Give up your own pleasure. Because when you have money, you can eat at any time. You can drink anything you want to drink once you are well. And you can have any kind of woman at any time you want. So God is saying, okay, I see you have given me some money. You spent some money in my cause. That is wonderful. You believe in me alone. That is wonderful. But now sacrifice your desire. Sacrifice your pleasure for my sake. So it is actually giving up things that we are addicted to. Human beings, we are addicted to eating, addicted to drinking, all kinds of things. We are addicted to sexual pleasure, sometimes in all kinds of ways at all times. But when you give up what you are addicted to for the pleasure of God, that is one of the highest demonstrations of sacrifice, and that pleases God. Then you come to the final one, which is the pilgrimage. The pilgrimage is one of the wonderful miracles of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Because you can imagine, that was some 1400 years ago when the proclamation was made that people should converge around the Kaaba. The Kaaba, by the way, is the first house of God that was ever built on earth. It was built by the Prophet Abraham and his son Ishmael. I mean, I don't have the time to take you through the Bible, but it is clearly written in the book of Genesis, especially if you read Genesis chapter 21, you'll find, and some other places in the book of Genesis, you see that this place is actually a holy place, because Genesis chapter 21, verse 19 actually refers to the well of Zamzam, that well that never runs dry. That is a living miracle. All the miracles we believe in that were performed by the prophets of old, Moses, Jesus, all the other people. We believe in them because we believe in the scriptures. But this one of the well of Zamzam, recorded in Genesis chapter 21, verse 19, this is a living miracle. It is still there to this day, where millions of people drink of the well in the desert of Arabia that never runs dry. It's a miracle. So that house is there, and it is an obligation upon all human beings, that the Quran says, to converge on that place to worship the God of Abraham. Like I said before, we have this common background, people of the Abrahamic tradition. So people who believe in the God of Abraham should assemble there once a year, and sometimes we do say Ramadan as well, to worship God. That Kaaba is a small building, uh, not capable of accommodating even up to 200 people, and you have more than 1 million people. That is why we go around it. When you see Muslims going around the Kaaba, it's because it's a small place. So in order not to give some people a privilege of praying in it, and other people maybe regarded as second class worshippers praying outside, so everybody just go around the Kaaba. It's a wonderful thing. It just shows you the unity of the universal human brotherhood, the human fraternity. And you have to go there to witness it yourself. You gotta experience it. And I think Brother Sekou will go there. If he hasn't gone there, I hope he has. If he hasn't, I hope he will go there very soon to witness some of the miracles and wonders of Allah.
Inshallah, we will. We'll try to go. So
these are the points.
Yeah, thank you so much, Imam. You know what? I want to ask you in this properly manner. Let's do this again next Friday, because you know what? We don't have enough time, and we don't want to keep you here, before the breakfast time. But before you go, though, one of the audience here, one of the fans of SKTV, AB Jabate, is asking us to ask you about Surah Al-Takabun, Surah 64, Ayah 14. Do you have any answer for him?
What Surah? What does the Surah say? The Ayah say?
He didn't say. He wouldn't say Surah Al-Takabun, Ayah 14. So we wish, maybe you can.
No, Surah Ankabut? Is it Ankabut?
No, Takabun. Takabun.
What Takabun? 64? Yeah. Is it Ayah 14?
Yes.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
But you should have at least quoted because I don't want to
Yeah, yeah.
misquote and maybe
No, no,
mislead the audience.
yeah, I don't want. Yeah, I don't just don't want him to think that maybe we are just skipping his question. So, but again, I want to ask you, and this is going to be my last question because I'm asking you to please provide a service to us again in this month of Ramadan. Next Friday, I think it's going to be one more Friday, I believe, within the Ramadan.
Yeah, yes, of
Yeah.
course.
So yeah.
Mhm.
So if you can avail yourself next Friday, let's do this again. So we ask more questions, so you can help us enlighten our minds. Um, the question,
Inshallah.
yeah, the question I have for you. We never asked this question because you've been here before, but those who have just seen you for the first time, many people in Liberia, when you mention Muslim, when you mention Islam, they think it belongs to the Mandingo people, Mandingo tribe, or maybe Bandi tribe, maybe Vi, somehow with those background. But when they hear Al Imam Ali Krayee, people ask me, who is Imam Ali Krayee? Just give a little bit of your background, who you are,
It's,
so that people can
it's
know.
interesting.
Yeah, so that people can know Islam is beyond tribe, is beyond color of our skin, is beyond our countries in Liberia, is beyond everything you can imagine. Just tell us a little bit about who is Imam Ali Krayee, if you don't mind.
Well, Imam Ali Krayee is the son or one of the sons of the late Paramount Chief Johnny Krayee of BI Chief Dongbazon District in Grand Jida County, who was Paramount Chief for the better part of the 50s, 60s, or 70s um, in that part of the country. And to the best of my knowledge, the Krayee name belongs to only one tribe in the whole world. That is a Crown tribe. I remember somebody used to call me Ali Crown. I would just laugh. So basically that is it. My uncle, my paternal uncle, is perhaps the first crown man to become a Muslim in Liberia because he embraced Islam in 1958. Alhaji Ibrahim Manjalo. He's living now almost 100 years old. Uh, he was also the first crown Muslim, the first crown person to perform the Hajj because he performed the Hajj in 1975. Were little kids those days. Yeah, so that is a relationship. But he introduced us to Islam earlier on. But as we were growing up, we did our own things until in 1988, our family became a Muslim. And started to learn Islam first in Liberia and then later in Nigeria, and still continuing to learn. So basically, this is Imam Ali Krayee. I worked in a lot of areas, but for now, I think it is important for people to know just this one. I'm from Grand Jide. I used to be general chairman of Grand Jide Youth Federation in the 1980s, and I worked as special assistant in the legislature to a Grand Jide representative in the 1990s. So this is Ali Krayee.
All right, Imam, thank you so much for your time. We have exhausted the time allotted to us. So those of you who are here, stay here. We're going to discuss a little bit of what we just heard, and then we're going to dive into politics for maybe about 30 minutes. And we're going to discuss my birthday too, because it's a big day for me.
Okay, and then I forgot to that it's a birthday. Usually, I don't just wish people happy birthday, but I think what we can do is to pray that Allah
Thank you.
will bless you with many more decades and will bless you with health and will be
Amen.
your guide and helper and protector throughout life.
Amen.
And He will guide you to success in every sense of the word in dunya and akhirah. And I
Amen.
also pray for your colleague, his name again, Steve, with you.
Steve.
I pray that God will be with you and bless your activities. Thank you.
Amen.
Happy birthday.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you so, so much. We appreciate you. So we got you next Friday, correct?
Inshallah, I'll be here.
Great. Thank you so much. So, Steve?
Well, fascinating.
This is very, very important conversation. I think we should do this, and I will also recommend, if we can, some Sundays, the show that we can do on Sunday, let's start at least a little earlier, 1 hour. If we can have any pastor to come, so we can ask this somebody tough questionnaire we have about religion. It's very, very important. So we can enlighten our minds and the minds of our friends and brothers, our friends that are Christians as well, those who are Muslims. So we can be periodically we'll be bringing these imams and clergymen, and pastors, show that way everybody can benefit. I think that's a good thing. It's very, very important.
Yes, we will. We'll reach it out like you suggested.
Yeah. So I want you to take care of that.
Yeah, we'll reach out to the team and finalize it. One of the recommendations that we would put on there is you don't have to be a pastor or reverend.
No.
We want religious scholars.
Yes.
Because it's important for you to understand the origin. Some of our pastors are not even religious scholars. They're God called me. Sorry to say, but God called them. They don't even know what they're talking. They're just interpreting the one that benefit them. So not to bring anybody down, but these are the facts. But as opposed to Imam Krayee that was on, he is not just an imam. From our research, he understands religions.
He's a scholar. He understands. Yes. He knows Christianity. He knows Muslim. He knows religion. Yes. He did extensive study. When it comes to religion.
Exactly.
So he knows a lot.
Right. So we want people who understand, the origin, the nitty-gritty, and so forth. We now want people that who are just kind of when you ask them questions, they sit when they can handle. Then they made a religion look funny. So
yeah.
That's what
not just somebody calling themselves pastor, but we talk about scholars, people who
because we'll go into some very deep questions.
So they can't come here and embarrass the religion, and embarrass all the Christians, embarrass all the Muslims.
Yeah, because some of
because I got one of my friends here right now. He calling him Kafuma Donzo. They mad at Donzo man. You understand? That guy who say calling me a picking. The man can Allah Imam. But when we ask the man a question now from the Quran, now the man starts scratching your head. Yeah, like he read it.
See?
So we don't want to copy.
If some of our men are going to Kanye, so our men who already get left to Jesus, they want to get back, they're looking for a reason.
Yeah.
And then they're going to put that same situation again. The men don't tell that left back, we don't want it.
Yeah.
So we'll bring people who understand the issue.
Yeah.
Not just pastor. So yeah, but Mr. Kind of we'll discuss.
So while we're on the announcement I wanted to make, why we when you said the birthday, the Now for Nothing birthday, our brother, the guy who we always call undercover citizen, Benjamin, he sent $100. He said for my birthday, we really appreciate it. And then the second person, I don't know. Let me see if the person don't care if I will call their name. I'm going to call the name. The name is Shafa. I'm not going to call the last name unless the person they don't have a problem with it. But I appreciate you. This is not so people shouldn't be afraid for this one because it's not like you're putting any political stuff. This is just personal thing you want to do out of good gesture to say okay happy birthday to say we appreciate it. Personally, the cause, the Facebook, some people posted me telling me happy birthday. I don't know them. I've never interacted with them, but just to appreciate what we do. And I am so humble and honored for it. And those of you that I know, honestly speaking, even the greeting, the best wishes, I'm unable to respond to all of it. I may not be able to do it, but I want to say thank you. I'm so humble and blessed to have all of you as friends, brothers and sisters. I really, really appreciate it. So, Steve, we were talking about some politics. I want to.
Yeah, Mr. Kanaja, before we go to the politics, on a birthday, happy birthday again to you. I know we got a whole birthday celebration for the weekend, but here is something I wanted to clarify. Today they showed an emergency show. So some people didn't know, they didn't come prepared. Yeah. And also some people stay aware, they didn't check their bank account yet to know, someone that's taking pay today already know what's going on. You see it?
I didn't know.
They wait that Friday, we don't want stakeholder, they want to stay and relax. So as a stakeholder, let me say to our people, You already know what time it is. Today, if you contribute, that's fine. Tomorrow and Sunday, please. That's a cool birthday. Father, I said will happen. It will work.
Oh, guess what Benjamin did?
Eh,
Let me tell you the funny thing he did. He contributed. He donated $100 for himself. Then he sent $1. He said that for the CDC. He paid for the CDC so that he can say CDC contributed to my birthday. You see Benjamin live? They got a Bible. He said $100. He said another $1. He said that for the CDC for the CDC.
So Mr. Kane, no, to be honest, I'm a serious announcement I'm making. So tomorrow, when you come on the show, contribution, anything you get from Mr. Kane, please feel free. And then he say you might do it. I don't want asking you, please, that Mr. Kane birthday. Again, $5, $2, $1. Then the other birthday, yeah, you will not die if you send something for Mr. Kane. You will not die. Yeah. But anyway, let's get to the issue.
Yeah, man. Let's talk politics, Steve. Yeah,
so Saturday and Sunday, Mr. Kane, Saturday and Sunday were dedicated to you, those who want to contribute. And let me say, hey, you already know what time it is. Saturday, we'll be in the middle of the show that the interesting thing discussing. When we check the cash app, you're not reacting. You're on your own. We take the show off, we're going. Oh, Joma,
say you must start asking for us, friend. Hey, Steve, you don't tell the guys, hey, one time we went somewhere, there was time for church service. We went there and we attended church and I paid my offerings and everything.
Yeah, most recently in California. We were there.
Right? We went to Sacramento, right?
Yes, and even when we go to the church event, when people pass away or whatever it is, when it's time for offering, or we go visit a church for the community or whatever it is, pay your offering.
Right, always.
Yeah.
So I'm very tolerant when it comes to religion. Trust me. I don't really. Yeah. I want people. I don't say religion.
Yeah, and in all honesty, from the local thing, you can even contribute more money than some of the Christians who can pay offering or matoso. When you look at what you, because they can be shifting between the $5 and the dollar bill. You don't shift. I always see you get there.
And guess what Benjamin did? He get $1 for CDC. He didn't say $1 again for ANC. So, but where does he belong? This guy like CDC or the ANC? You may pay for both. You may pay for both CDC and ANC and then for himself. Benjamin Jonas sent money 3 times: $100, $1, and $1. And then he added for CDC, for ANC, and then for himself. So those who are wishing me happy birthday, I appreciate it. Trust me. I'm very. You know what it takes? Now picking like over there, called Kafuma, my good friend there. I'm talking about I'm not good friend, long time friends from Liberia. Almost, the Hatayi group guy here now. The one who had in brother met he was the president.
Oh yeah.
But the man, the only thing the man know how to lie on me. The man said my first time I came to America, I came to New York. The man said I was big square, a big belly. He said that want to take care of me. That the guy go lie to the wife, say, oh, cow almost hit the guy out. Man came the city just looking all over the place. When I first came to New York. So that the lie been lying on me. So I was talking myself.
But so Mr. Kane, interestingly, while we are talking about the birthday and we're switching into politics here, there are some interesting things going on. Somebody say you should call the last name. I think somebody contributed.
Okay. Yeah, that person was
not the first name, last name.
Yeah. The person name was Shafa. The last name is Dix.
No, the person said what?
Yeah, I'm gonna call it the first name. The first and last name is Dix. Shafa Dix. The people that have sent money here, let me tell you the names.
No, anyway, he's Paul. We'll keep it. Let him leave it. Don't call him. I beg you. Leave it. Can't leave it like that. Forget it. Let's get to the politics. Leave it.
You said we'll call the person. We gotta call the first name first. You said no. I'm sorry.
My man, we take a pass. But don't you your mind will do anyway. We'll finish cashing the money, so you're not. But anyway, Mr. Kane, let's be honest. Let's get to the conversation, and then maybe at the very end, maybe you can let people know, who all contributed. But again,
we'll do that. No, there were 2 people right now.
no, tomorrow just a prelude.
Benjamin did a lot of funny stuff. Benjamin sent money 4 times.
Benjamin start playing around.
$100 for himself, another $100 for CDC, another $100 for ANC, and then
you need to send money for the guy.
And then he said $2 for Henry Costa. The man Henry Costa came with you.
The man supporting rescue too. The man texted me the other day saying he on rescue too, sir. But Mr. Kane, let's get to the conversation. I'm being informed that more likely so, we said this to you before, and we'll talk about it a little more tomorrow, that interestingly, the CDC is gearing up to bring up charges possibly against Gloria Mustu-Scott about what happened that famous day.
Hold on, you say the CDC or the government? Or the CDC or the Justice Department?
The CDC-led government, which is the Justice Department. Thank you for that correction. This is going to be an interesting play out. My people, we said this thing from the get-go. Y'all were there with us. We said it. But on SKTV, whether you agree with how we say it, when we said it, we say what is right. Another issue that is trending also, tomorrow maybe we'll play the video shortly. There's also noise in the primary of the Unity Party in Grand Gide. Things are happening rapidly. Another noise also that people are not paying attention to, Mr. Kane, is the rising of government employees, civil servants coming up for their pay. That the government is not able to pay them or has not paid them. It's a problem that is rising up. And we are reliably informed that there is gradually a shortage of US dollars. That is a problem that is rising.
In Liberia?
Yes, some have alluded to the fact that it was because of the seizure of the drugs, and no more drugs coming in, no more transaction like before. So things are stalled. The government is struggling to make payments. Mr. Kane, that is a problem. We are following some stories, some leads on some serious issues in the country. We're not letting it down. And so these are issues that are rising up. And here is something that is interesting. I was waiting for a call. From 2 of our sources to confirm something. This is very interesting. That a situation going on in the Middle East to some extent funds part of the reason the CIA called President George Weah. Again, this is not authenticated. It has not. We can't corroborate this yet. You all know the story that we can bring, so we stand behind. We can't talk. But unconfirmed sources are saying to us that part of the monies from drug trades and other things that were used helped fund some of the activities going on in Israel, whether through Hezbollah and so forth. And the American government is not happy with President George Weah's exposure and his involvement. Again, these are not confirmed yet. We will confirm it. When we confirm it, we'll stand behind the report or not. These are unconfirmed reports. So, Mr. Kane, a lot of things happening in the political spectrum, very concerning, very problematic. And tomorrow we'll also be speaking deeply about the ANC, some concerns that we have about it CPP, Mr. Alexander Cummings and the ANC, especially their inability. You see, we must tussle. We are doing service for even the Unity Party when we bring out the issue. For the CDC, we want the better labor. We are concerned about the CPP's inability to be able to recruit other parties to join it up until now. These are things that we got to examine. We'll tussle.
Yep.
Well, we're not just coming to say, oh, Joseph Boakai. We know Joseph Boakai. We know Joseph Boakai fought. We know, the president fought. We know the CDC fought. But we can't shy away from holding ANC accountable. What happened to the CPP? There are a lot of parties around. How come they have not been able to recruit? What are they? Look, lots of conversations are falling off because the CPP has not been able to keep up with some of the conversations. How come they have not been able to recruit other people? What is the recruiting team of the ANC doing? A lot of people complaining. There are a lot of complaints about, people not being vested, people not doing a job or whatever it is, people that come is employed. They're just acting cute all day. We're going to discuss that tomorrow. You don't want to miss the show tomorrow.
So just to talk about some of the things we've been hearing, and this information that I'm going to talk about right now is authentic. Have you noticed of late there has been a renewed calls for Boakai Kumi's ticket? People continue to talk about it. People try to intensify the approach for that call. There is something behind the call. If you want to talk about it right now, I can talk about it. If you want me to keep it for tomorrow, we can keep it for tomorrow. But there's something behind it. That's why, I told you after the show, I want you to come to the house, or maybe tonight after breakfast, you can come. Yeah.
We're giving the teaser.
Yeah.
We got a whole weekend.
So tomorrow we'll talk about it in detail. But just to give you like Steve would say, a teaser. There's something behind it. And what is behind it is that people are trying hard, very, very hard, to convince Joseph Nima Boakai to stay in the race.
Mr. Kennedy, we'll talk about it. I beg you. I beg you. Let's deal with that. Don't give it out.
It's crazy.
Mr. Kennedy, I'm begging you, please.
And, every time we get information here, we do, they little audio go, oh, yeah, c'est good, that's true.
Mr. Kennedy, let them put two in tomorrow. We'll leave it with them. Let them go sleep all day today. Turn out Good Friday. In fact, some that's all being checked. What did they do here today? What did they show?
This will be the most on Friday.
Exactly. So what is going on? No, we're not going to try it today. We just here to say happy birthday to Mr. Kane. A lot of political unfoldings. Mr. Kane?
So I don't know, man. But Steve said I'm not talking.
Mr. Kane, I beg you, don't talk. Mengen talk, I beg you. I beg you, Mengen talk. Mengen talk, I beg you. Don't talk.
You know the way Mo can be so impatient.
Tomorrow we're talking.
She went. She made a whole post.
Yeah, nobody's stupid here. You're not stay talk. Nobody's stupid here. You're not stay talk.
Never been wasting her time and not talking what she wanted. What she wanted. That girl like this.
We're not talking here. We're not talking. Tomorrow you're talking. Tomorrow.
And she not in room. When they come, they want me to talk it. So now even like going to right. Even when I post something there, I just drop a code. When we say you gotta talk to her, you gotta do what's going on. If I can't talk in public, I'm gonna talk it to her. So my sister and they too strong.
Make it talk.
But still say, Megan, to I'm gonna leave
Mr.
it.
Kenny, I beg you, I hold your 2 feet. Please, let's not talk today. We'll talk on the weekend. My people, you're listening. What the thing where you're rushing for, y'all will get it. There's not anything to rush.
So today when I get off the phone, you know, before you made the link, I'll call you back to back.
Yeah.
Because
I was in the shower.
I wanted to be a part of the conversation.
I was in the shower.
Yeah.
I saw the back-to-back call. I said, but wait a minute.
I wanted to be, and I told the people that I'm going, let me quick. I said, this one is big. Let me let it be, let's listen to. Because I don't want, But so.
No, I come to the hot just now.
We want to talk about it tomorrow. That's fine.
We'll talk about it tomorrow, my people. Yeah, listen. They men I birthday today. Instead of sending something for you,
I wouldn't have said, if I say I will not talk, say you're right.
Hey, you see what I told you? You see?
I trust you. I'll wait.
You see? Mr. Kane, our people, listen, those people they just find your own year, make it all. The time rescue Tuesday, make it all. All of y'all supporting. So make it all today now. You want change it? We not stupid.
Somebody is taking their birthday share back.
Yeah, take it back. We don't get problem. We always screenshot it, we'll save it and post it when you take it back. You are on record, we screenshot it.
Okay. No problem.
No, but tomorrow we're talking. Mr. Kane.
Okay. Let me lead that one. Let me talk about some of the feedbacks we are getting. The feedback we are getting about people who there were the short list of CPP. We are getting good feedbacks. And as I speak to you right now, right where I sit right now, there is ongoing conversation from two different fronts.
You come and get a political leader and be worried about. Some people they got to be worried.
I think that, yeah. So there are conversations going on, and this conversation is very interesting. I think tomorrow's show is going to be very, very, very interesting.
But tomorrow we're celebrating the birthday. Tomorrow is the official. Look, let me tell you something. The thing what you're doing today, tomorrow is the official. Today at the birthday, the day the man was born. Tomorrow is the official unveiling of the child. So tomorrow we're unveiling this Okane. And if you can't with your dollar, I can check club. We're not accepting it. We're not accepting dollar tomorrow. You understand? So you know.
Yeah.
If you bring your dollar, you must keep it for the club.
So what happened? The developments that we are getting, Steve, it's kind of hard to run away from it, and everything kind of like connected somehow, because a lot of things happening rapidly, right? Very fast.
Yes.
And in fact, before the second source, the very first one, I had to say, you know what? We get a show coming up to interview Imam Ali Krayee. And then, so the source informed, okay, guess what? Call me after the show. Now, I mean, everything we got right now, and all. And this, to be honest, this source never ever failed. Every single time, every information we have received from this source that I'm talking about right now, even the two sources actually has come to pass 100%. 100%. So it's very, very important. So we will call back, get more information, verify, authenticate, and tomorrow we'll spill the bean.
Yes. In other developments, just so you guys know, again, hopefully next week, but the ANC Global if we do come to an agreement today or tomorrow, we'll send out the agreement to finalize everything. The ANC global or chapter the in Europe, they should be hosting Mr. Alexander B. Cummings. They wanted us to summercast, broadcast, however, bring it to you guys, bring it to Liberia. I think it will be a 2 or 3 days event. We have not finalized the agreement. We should be hopefully by today or by tomorrow. And then maybe on Sunday or tomorrow, we could have a representation if we finalize it tonight, more likely so. And then the CPP has revisited her date. They reached out to us again on their event they're having in Philadelphia. It's going to be on the 24th. Again, we have not finalized it. We are going to finalize it with them as well so that we can bring you the information in Philadelphia. They've contacted us. We look forward to working together with it, but we haven't finalized the deal yet, so we can let you know if it's 100%. But right now, it's 50-50. The 50-50. So we working on it. Once we get a full detail by tomorrow or by Sunday, you'll be in the know and you will know exactly what's going on. But the ANC has contacted us from all fronts. CPP has contacted us from all fronts. We are ready. Many people have been asking Mr. Kane why we not going Liberia, why we can go Liberia. I see some people trying to even throw jabs at we talk on Facebook, we not go Liberia, we not nothing because we not show photo car with 0 ballon. We just making no Facebook. Like everybody can go Liberia and tell they go Liberia.
But the noise they're making is having more impact in Liberia. I just told you that from the show we just had about the short list is making a serious impact. Serious one. Yeah. When I say serious, I mean serious one. Yeah.
That short list knows that was broad that people overload. But yeah, wait tomorrow and Sunday.
And then, as a matter of fact, on Monday, we will do the same exact show on Monday to ask people about their opinion. Because a lot of people were shocked, especially from the calls in Liberia and the calls in the United States also. Anyway, I want to say thank you to you, Steve, to everybody for keeping SKTV alive, to everybody behind the scene, Dr. Kumara and all our other people. I don't want to call everybody who are behind the scene, SKTV, making SKTV what it is. I want to say thank you to all of you. And I want to say a big thank you to the Almighty God for keeping us alive. And we are 1 year plus today. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It means all trials and tribulations. It means all the things we go through as human beings. Our difficult time, our good time. If we can live and look healthy and feel healthy, is a big deal. So I can't thank God enough. I mean, there are people that we fought together last year. They are not here today. They're gone. There are people that we fought together last year. They're still alive, but they cannot even fast right now because of the illness. They are not well. There are people that can see, but they can't talk. There are people that can talk, but they can't see. There are people that are sitting in the house, seeing everything going on, but they can't even move. So when you see yourself alive, able, and you can do things on your own, then you look like a human being. You behave like a human being. You talk like a human being. You should be thankful to the Almighty. So, Steve, I really thank God. And I want to say thank you. Thank to all our crew, Melbourne, Ibrahim, and other people in Liberia. And the ones that are here that we can call their name, including our brother Abdel, everybody that are behind the scene making SKT what it is. I want to say thank you to all of you. We love you. We'll be here.
Yes, we will be here tomorrow. Guys, it was just an emergency show with the Imam. We promised to bring him on. It's been a while. And so that's why we were on today. But hey, tomorrow, don't miss tomorrow. Tell a friend. Tell
Steve, once again, a big thank you to Benjamin, Jonah, and the other contributor for the generosity for giving me, Sekou Kene, 100, what is it, amount? $54 for my birthday.
So
Steve said tomorrow is the birthday me celebration, but
wait. They won't wait now.
We still gonna thank you.
Wait now, we know that your birthday, so we would have our birthday. What we getting?
Me, the SKTV money, like my own money.
Anyway, I'll see you soon.
Yeah, I know. I will see you. So when the show finish, you can let's talk.
Yes, I come so we can iron that up really quick.
Yeah. So folks, I want to say thank you very, very much, and we'll see you again. Steve.
Yeah, folks, thank you so much. Let me stay with your closer from there, right? Let me get ready quick to be on.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so folks, thank you so much. We'll be here tomorrow. As always, we'll discuss politics. We'll discuss a lot of things. But yes, it was very, very important conversation with the Imam. Imam Ali Krayee, he's very, very, very knowledgeable. He understands religion. He understands society. He understands, human being. And he has written books, not just one, books, So that's very, very important. Yeah, we love you. All my sisters, I love you guys to the moon. So honestly speaking. And my brothers, so much. I love you guys so much. The love you guys have shown me is overwhelming, honestly, and I appreciate it. But yeah, we'll be here tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow. So more, don't get twisted. Don't get it twisted. We're gonna be on. So no matter what happened tonight, we're not gonna do much. We're just gonna sit down, eat meat, and drink hatay. We're not gonna do anything. This is Ramadan of Ramadan. We're not even gonna stay long. We gotta go to the mosque. We gotta pray. We gotta do other stuff. So we don't do a lot of stuff during the month of Ramadan because the Ramadan is only there for prayers and fasting, and I said one of the sisters called me today, a Christian sister called me. All she did is to just pray for me, and I appreciate it. I appreciate her so much. Thank you all, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.